in first PUC, just we completed only 6 chapters, but there are 22 chapters in the first PUC of biology. So, after completion of the 6 chapters, let me start with the 7th chapter, that is the structural organization in animals. First PUC biology, structural organization in animals, which is very important. So in part 1 I will explain only about the animal tissues, and in the part 2 about the earthworm, cockroach and frog. These are the 3 organisms we have to study in detail in this 7th chapter, structural organization in animals. So tissue. Tissue is a group of cells similar in origin, structure, function. OSF. Don't code it. Tissue is a group of cells similar in origin, structure and function. Animal tissues broadly classified into ECMN. It is also called epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. Epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues, they form the covering of inner and outer surface of various organs. The cells are closely packed without leaving intercellular spaces, contain NCC, nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. Nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane, and they are rested on structureless basement membrane. Structureless basement membrane. So, the nucleus may be present at the center, for example in case of squamous epithelium and cuboidal epithelium, and at the base, for example ciliated epithelium and columnar epithelium. So squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium and cuboidal epithelium, glandular epithelium are the various types of epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissue composed of one layer called simple epithelium, more than one layer called compound epithelium. Compound epithelium. These tissues, they form 3 kinds of joints like tight joint, adhesive joint, gap joints. Tight joint, so that is tight without any the exchange of the ions, molecules, etc. Tight joints between the cells, and the adhesive joints, the tight contact with the neighboring cells, and only in gap joints, there will be an exchange of ions, molecules and even the cytoplasm of the adjoining cells. So these things, joints, are also very, very important. So squamous epithelium, squamous flattened cells, closely packed, arranged on structureless basement membrane, contains nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. Nucleus present at the center. There are 2 types, simple and compound squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium, protective in function, and so squamous epithelium, inner lining of the blood vessels. This squamous epithelium is called endothelium, and the outer layer of the Bowman's capsule also composed of squamous epithelium present in various parts of the body, and then protective in function. After squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, pillar-like cells closely packed, arranged on structureless basement membrane, contains nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane, and nucleus present at the base. Especially these columnar epithelium, they are present in the intestine and serves in absorption. Microvilli serves in absorption. And next, a modified columnar epithelium with a cilia called ciliated epithelium. Same explanation. Pillar-like cells closely packed, arranged on structureless basement membrane, contains nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane and cilia. Just one part you have to add. That's all. So present in the moist parts of the body, like the nasal cavities, so respiratory tract. So this is about the ciliated epithelium, which are sensory in function. And cuboidal epithelium present in PCT, DCT, and cuboid secretion forms an important function of the cuboidal epithelium, and they are box-like, closely packed, arranged as structureless basement membrane, contains nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane, nucleus present at the center. Whereas for columnar epithelium and ciliated nucleus present at the base, that is very important characteristic features of the columnar and ciliated epithelium. And next to this, glandular epithelium. There are unicellular glandular epithelium, multicellular glandular epithelium. Secretion forms an important function. There are also nucleus present at the center, closely packed, and along the different parts they are present, and they secrete. And there are two types of glands, as we know that. Exocrine glands secrete the mucus, the oil, and the earwax, and then enzymes. These are all the things secreted by exocrine glands, and endocrine glands secrete hormones, and these glands are lined with the glandular epithelium. That is also very, very important. And after the epithelial tissues, next tissue, connective tissue. The presence of intercellular matrix forms an important characteristic feature of all the connective tissues, and connective tissues broadly classified into the loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. Loose connective tissue, example, areolar connective tissue and adipose connective tissue. Areolar connective tissue consists of intercellular matrix made up of polysaccharide. Here and there mast cells are present. Mast cells give rise to intercellular matrix. Here and there the amoeboid shaped macrophages are present. Macrophages are phagocytic in nature, and the two types of fibers, both yellow fibers and white fibers, are present. Yellow fibers are elastic in nature, white fibers are non-elastic in nature. And coming to the dense fibers composed of only the collagen fibers. Based on the orientation, they are classified to regular and irregular dense fibers. Regular fibers are tendons and ligaments. Both ligaments and tendons very important for the NEET examinations, because tendons connect muscle to bone or vice versa, whereas the ligaments connect muscle to muscle or bone to bone. This is very, very important. Tendons connect bone to muscle or muscle to bone, whereas the ligaments connect bone to bone, muscle to muscle. They are the regular dense connective tissues. And irregular dense fibers are the collagen fibers, undoubtedly. And then they are present in the cartilage, bone, and even blood. Irregular dense fibers are present. And coming to the cartilage is a skeletal connective tissue, or it is a dense connective tissue, and intercellular matrix made up of chondrin, and they contain cartilage cells, and it is pliable, can be bent at the pliable. Whereas the bone is, and the cartilage present in the nose, tips, ears, elastic in nature. Bone is a dense connective tissue, and intercellular matrix made up of hostile calcium salts, and the bone cell section, it shows bone marrow cavity, and then surrounding this lamellae, plate-like structures, and then each consists of lacunae. Each lacunae consists of single bone cell. They form Haversian system, and in the middle Haversian canal, which contains blood vessels, and then lamellae once again, and then lacunae. Each lacuna contains single bone cell, and they are connected by canaliculi. All these lamellae, lacunae, Haversian canal, bone cells, canaliculi together constitute a system called Haversian system, which is an important characteristic feature of all the mammals. Haversian system, that is given in the diagram, explanation not given. And coming to the blood is a fluid connective, the dense connective tissue, and blood it consists of intercellular matrix called plasma, on which RBC, WBC platelets are suspended. In detail, that is, we will explain blood in the 17th and 18th chapter of the first PUC. So, next to this, connective tissues, muscular tissues. Muscular tissues consists of the myofibrils, actin and myosin, and there are three types: smooth muscle, striped muscle or skeletal muscle, and cardiac muscle. Smooth muscle, tapering ends, fusiform in shape, and cylindrical in shape, the skeletal muscles. They are also cylindrical in shape, cardiac muscles. Uninucleated, multinucleated, uninucleated. Nucleus present at the center, nucleus present towards the sides, and nucleus present at the center. And here the bands are absent. Light bands and dark bands are absent in smooth muscle. And here the bands are present. Here also the bands are present. That is very important. And the cardiac muscles shows both the characteristic features of the smooth muscles and the skeletal muscles or striped muscles. But here the presence of bridges, the cells are branched, the bridges forms an important characteristic feature of the cardiac muscle. And this smooth muscle present along the digestive tract, and the skeletal muscles present at the biceps and the other parts, whereas the cardiac muscles, their presence is restricted to heart. And this is about in detail the muscular tissues. After the muscular tissues, next is the nervous tissue that we study in detail, that is in the chapter number 21. But anyhow, the neuron is the unit of nervous system. Neuron consists of cell body called cyton and nerve fiber called axon. Cyton consists of neuroplasm. Within the neuroplasm, cell bodies are present, and the cyton also bears tubular dendron further branched into dendrites. Axon composed of box-like cells called Schwann cells. Space between the Schwann cells called node of Ranvier, and ending is a neuron axon ending. And dendrites of one neuron is in contact with the telodendria or axon ending of another neuron. Such places of physiological junction called synapses, that is very, very important. And there are two types of nerve fibers: myelinated nerve fibers, non-myelinated nerve fibers, or medullated nerve fibers, which have the myelinated sheath, and non-medullated. Medullated present in the central nervous system, non-medullated present in the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. These things very important. And the membrane called next to the myelin sheath, there is neurolemma in the neurons. Neuron is the unit of the nervous system, and neurons bundled to form cells called neuroglial cells. All these things are very important. And a group of cells together constitutes tissues. A group of tissues further gives rise to called organ. Organ gives rise to systems. Systems give our body. So these are all the things. Whereas the question not given in the NEET is here: heart composed of all four kinds of animal tissues. It is only the heart which consists of all four types of the animal tissues, that is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. So with this, just in the part 1 I explained about the tissues. In the second part I will explain in detail about the various features of the earthworm, cockroach and frog. So please subscribe. Thank you.